Welcome back to They Did What, your source for the internet's craziest and most entertaining stories, where I go over them, analyze them, and on occasion, make fun of them. Today, I'm going to go over this hilarious short story titled, Ex-Girlfriend Wouldn't Let Me Break the Lease, so I walked in on her having relations with her new boyfriend. And guys, this story, it's about a guy. He's reflecting upon a situation that happened 10 years ago where he had a girlfriend and they thought it'd be a great idea to move in together. And of course, the first few months, everything is great. And then all hell breaks loose and it ends from there. But you're going to see that even though he moves out and she makes it as miserable as possible for him to move out, she still wants him to pay for his half of the expenses. She doesn't take him off the lease or the other bills. And so this guy is left having to pay for his current home and the other home. She refuses to take him off. And you're going to see, and I'm not going to spoil it, what he does to get her to change her mind. So jumping right into it, it says, this happened about 10 years ago. I was dating this girl for a year and things were going pretty well. Well, that's usually how it goes in the beginning. Both of the leases on our separate apartments were coming up for renewal, and we decided to get a place together so our relationship would go to the next level and we'd have a good bit of money saved up. At the time, I could really see myself with this girl. So we signed a year lease on the new place, and for the first 4 months, for the first few months or so, things are great. That's usually how it goes in the beginning. It's called the honeymoon period. Then our relationship starts to fall apart. Not assigning blame here, you know how it is. It just didn't work out. The bummer though was she started to get pretty nasty to me, and after a few really ugly fights, I decided to move out in a hurry. Well, she did that on purpose. She was making it as miserable as possible to get you out of there as soon as possible, but you're going to see she's going to try to have her cake and eat it too. He says, I got a cheap place across town and moved out on a Saturday because I couldn't bear it anymore. So after about a week, I cool off enough to call her and ask her to get a new roommate and take me off the lease. She says, no. I don't have time to get a new roommate and I can't afford the place alone. So for the next 2 weeks, I find 2 mutual friends willing to move in. She rejects them for stupid reasons and hasn't lifted a finger to find a suitable roommate. It dawns on me that she intends to live in this place alone for the next 8 months while I pay half the rent and half the utilities. Hell no. Her cake and eat it too. What a load of crap. How many times have I talked about in past videos, unless you plan on getting married for a trial run of the relationship, don't move in with your girl. All sorts of problems can happen, leaving you on the hook for part of the bills and expenses. Perfect example. He says, at this point, I'm pissed. I'm now paying 2 leases and utilities and so on. I got some money in the bank, so I'm not in danger, but I can't afford to do this for very long. And it just isn't reasonable. You're damn right it's not reasonable. I found out during our week without contact that she had already started dating another guy. I know that's super quick, a few days from our breakup, but I have no evidence she ever cheated on me, so no big deal. Well, brother, that's what you think. And they always have backup. Believe me, that's how it works. By and large, most gals have guys, orbiters if you will, that are more willing to replace you like that. That's why it's so easy for girls to break up and move on. However, I did know that my ex was insatiable and we had sex every morning. We were together like clockwork. She had to get out of the house to make work by about 8:45 a.m. So we had you know what at 7:45 a.m. or so every morning. He says our relationship did have its positive aspects, and her being really into and amazingly good at sex was one of the good parts. So anyway, I hatched a plan to get out of the lease. And wait till you see this, guys. It's freaking hilarious. So the next morning, I get to our old place at 7:45 in the morning and wait in my truck until 7:50 a.m., figuring I know her well enough to know that it was good timing. Our place was a studio apartment, and the bed, our old bed, was across from the front door, and to the right was a little kitchen dining area. So I turned the key and opened the door as fast as possible, and I was not disappointed. My ex was riding this guy, and I make contact with him, LOL. I'll never forget the look of shock, maybe mixed with shame, on his face. She rolls off him and pulls the covers over them, and they are both naked. Hey, it's his apartment too. He's still on the lease, paying for all the bills, so he's allowed to come and go as he pleases because, after all, she wants him to be on it. So, okay, he can walk in. He says, don't mind me. I go to the cupboard, get some of the Lucky Charms I bought, and it's still in there. I pour a bowl, add some milk, and start chowing down, ignoring them. God, I would love to be the fly on the wall observing this situation. Hilarious. The dude can't move because his clothes aren't nearby. My ex is like, get the hell out of here. And I say, I'm still on the lease. This is my place, but you go ahead. Don't let me interrupt you. She starts screaming at me, curses me out, throws a couple of shoes at me, and misses, and basically has a meltdown from the bed while I calmly eat my cereal for about 15 minutes. Then I say, oh, will you look at the time? I gotta get to work. The dude didn't move an inch or open his mouth. 15 minutes he sat there eating his Lucky Charms, taking his sweet time. That must have been the longest 15 minutes in the world to those two, particularly that guy who couldn't believe what was happening. He was probably scared out of his mind what would happen here. This continues on. The next day, I open the door at 7:40 a.m. this time. She and her new boy toy are awake and dressed. I say, oh, good morning. I have bagels, with a totally fake, cheery smile. I put the bag of bagels and cream cheese on the counter and I say, I'm just going to get a shower real quick. She is calmer this time, but starts swearing. She's gone when I get out of the shower, so I make a bagel and head out myself. I show up again at 8 p.m. with some Chipotle. They are sitting on the bed watching TV. I sit at the counter on a bar stool, start tearing into my burrito, and start chatting like I'm their best friend. He says, so, what are we watching tonight? Oh, awesome. I haven't seen that show in years. Cool. I stay for about 30 minutes eating my burrito and then asking the guy stupid questions, just being super annoying. I recognize him from her friend group, but I honestly didn't know his name. My ex seems super nervous and doesn't say much. He seems super nervous and doesn't say much. My ex is really pissed and is fuming. Again, the fly on the wall. So how long do you think this is going to go on before she changes her mind about the lease? The third morning I show up at 7:45 a.m. They aren't there. I take a shower, eat some cereal, and leave a polite note about how I'm sorry I missed them and I'll see them tonight. That day at work, I get a bunch of faxes from my ex-girlfriend requesting my signature on the new lease. On a new lease on the apartment, as well as signatures canceling our power, water, cable, and internet bills. I really enjoyed signing all those and faxed them back. I never saw or heard from either of them again. That is hilarious. Quick story, but that'd be a pretty good one to go over there. But, hey, she brought this on herself. This guy, okay, it didn't work out, tried to move on, and very selfishly decide, hey, I'll live here. I'm not going to get into the roommate. He can pay for half my expenses. Well, payback's a bitch, huh? This guy had every right to do what he did. I mean, I haven't heard a story like that before, so it's absolutely hilarious. But good for this guy, and hey, justice is served. But anyhow, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And also, guys, if you ever come across a really good story, something really funny, something creative, something different, something outrageous, just be sure to email it to me. And if it definitely works out, I'll certainly do it in the future. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.